coming from the NBA this hour. It was another Game 7, Boston, the site as the Milwaukee Bucks, the road team, trying to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, a date in the Final Four. The winner would take on Miami. The Celtics trying to get back into that Final Four position. They've been there a couple years. So let's get down to it. Did you watch? Possibly not. Possibly not. And even if you did watch, maybe you forgot because it happened in the afternoon. So somebody named Grant Williams. Who? Grant Williams had 28 points to lead.
Never heard of him.
I don't know who that is, but he led 5 Celtics in double figures. And Boston led by as many as 28. They won by 28, 109-91 over Milwaukee. So the Celtics do move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. A date with Jimmy Buckets and the Miami Heat. More on that coming up in a minute. But let's discuss the better story in the losing locker room. So we focus in on the Bucks. The question, the blame game. Who's to blame for Milwaukee losing in non-dramatic fashion in Game 7? So I've got Janet Jackson, Flip, and economics. And we will tie all of these things together, and that will be the bedrock that we will build up on this Maller monologue. So, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He had the big stat line, but he also gets the biggest share of the Bucks blame pie. Biggest piece. Now, Antetokounmpo, in this game, what was required was putting the entire roster on his back like some kind of circus act, right on his shoulders there for the full 48 minutes. That was what was required. You had to go to the second or third gear to get it done. Did that happen? Not in this game. It did not happen. The final numbers look fine. If you didn't watch the game, you look at the box score, you're like, wow, that's exciting. But it was not an impressive performance when you look at how the game turned out in context of who Giannis is in that business, in the basketball business. He was great for 25% of the game. Wonderful. Had 10 points in the first quarter, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. The rest of the game, considering the game was over early in the third quarter, whatever point in the third quarter you want to decide it's over, the Bucks did not have a lead in the second half. But from the first quarter to the final quarter, through the end of the game there, he finished the rest of the game shooting 35%, Giannis did, with 12 rebounds, 1 assist over the final 36 minutes. It was not good enough. The old Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. Superheroes wear capes. Giannis did not bring his cape in this game. He did not have that outfit, that ensemble in his wardrobe. So he was lacking the cape there, and the Bucks are lacking a win. Is it unfair to point that out? I say no. Giannis has a lot of Bullwinkle badges. He's won a lot of honors in his NBA career, and certainly his last season, the NBA Finals against the Suns, a well-decorated player. But Giannis, he's the one here. This is his opportunity, Game 7 on the road, where legends are made, whether they wink it or not. Now, there are a number of other players that get little baby pieces of the blame pie. Grayson Allen, who looked against the Bulls like he was back playing for Coach K, and then he's vanished ever since then. Pat Connaughton, who had some good games in the series against Boston, but this was not one of them. Those guys were total stiffs. Allen and Connaughton combining 1 of 12 from the floor, 0 of 9 from three-point range. Brick, 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 brick. It's a brick house is what it is, a total of 3 points. Now, projecting at page 2 of this, what's next for the Bucks, you ask? There's going to be all kinds of chatter. Here's what I see in my crystal ball. All kinds of chatter about whether or not Giannis Antetokounmpo is happy in Wisconsin. Now, you might remember a couple days ago, we were here. He joked about taking a year off, and that got some headlines. But I expect the NBA media to turn this into a Shakespearean drama. The Greek Freak is that franchise. Is he worn out in the land of the cheese? Does he need more help? Is he going to demand more help? All of those type of storylines are going to pop up. So here's what I expect the Milwaukee Bucks to do. Nothing of consequence. That's what I expect. They will just simply tread water. That's all they're going to do here. This is not a team that goes out and makes the bold move. It's not an exotic free agent destination. We all know that. Unless you're from Milwaukee or from Wisconsin, you're not going to be jonesing to go back there. And so lacking the gunslinger mentality, I expect the old Flip, as in Flip Wilson, old comedian a million years ago who had the great quote, "What you see is what you get." And will the Bucks make some transactions? Sure. They'll make some minor adjustments, but we would be shocked if any major moves take place. This is an ifs and buts were candy and nuts situation. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, the Bucks would have beaten the Celtics, because if only Chris Middleton had played. But he didn't play. And Milwaukee will hang their hat on that. The hypotheticals, we often point this out. We love doing hypotheticals. Hypotheticals are wonderful in life because you are never wrong in a hypothetical. If only I had gotten that job, my life would be so much better. If only I had dated that one girl back in the day, if I hadn't broken up with her, then everything would be great. But I do expect it simply to blame. The blame game will be, hey, well, Chris Middleton got hurt. He wasn't available. And if he had played, yada, 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 would have won. But keep an eye on the Giannis Antetokounmpo storyline. Who will be the first NBA supposed insider who runs with that? League sources say Giannis isn't happy, wants the Bucks to do X, Y, and Z. So you know that'll pop up. That is guaranteed. All right, last word here. So let's go over to the Celtics. Now, they have advanced to the Final Four. Congratulations to Jason Tatum and friends. And the gambling world has checked in. The gambling market, a pretty good indicator of how these things are going to turn out. Vegas is setting Boston as the betting favorite in the overall series. Now, Miami opened up a 2-point favorite at home in Game 1. And the Heat have the better record, so they have the home court advantage. However, did you know that in the opening line for the series, the Celtics, a minus 160 favorite to win the series? Now, what does that mean in layman's terms? That implies a 61% chance that the green team will get to the NBA Finals, even though the Heat have the home court advantage. As we said, they are the top seed in the Eastern Conference. So are you buying the Celtics as the favorite, even though they're the road team in that extra game? All right, so I am buying this, and I'll tell you why. It's all about the economics. It's always about the economics. Follow the money. And there's a lot more Boston cash as opposed to Miami cash. It's one of the things people don't understand about the gambling part is Vegas sportsbooks. In sportsbooks, wherever they are, most of them are based in Vegas and then spread out across the country. But the sportsbook sets the opening line. It's the money, the gambling public, that will establish where that goes, where the line goes. Now, they set the line for a number of variables, but they anticipate where the money's going to be. And they set the line based on where they can get even money. Because they make money. It doesn't matter who wins. As long as there's even money on both sides, they win. They're guaranteed a profit. Too much money on either side, if you know anything about gambling, and that moves the line. It's all about balance. It's like walking on a rope over a large body of water. Like you got to have balance. And so the people setting the line here, they believe having the Celtics favored will encourage the gambler that doesn't have skin in the game to bet on the Miami Heat. And it is the perfect setup for both teams in the Eastern Finals. I'll tell you why. Because each team can claim to do what every team in sports loves to do my entire life. We saw this after the Dallas Phoenix Suns Game 7 where Jason Kidd got in the locker room and nobody thought we could do this. Well, in the Eastern Conference, both teams can claim nobody thought we could do this. And the Heat, you're like, oh, they're home court. What's up with that? They can't say that. They've got the home court advantage. Well, no. The gambling people say that the Celtics are favored, and the Celtics can claim, oh, nobody thinks we can do it because we're the road team. So it's a win-win situation for each team as they can scream and cry and shout and all that. Say, nobody thinks we can do this. And they have a setup. They're ready to go. All right, let's go into the locker room now and hear from some of the key participants. Mike Budenholzer didn't play a minute in the game. He walked up and down the sidelines, and Mike Budenholzer would like to give every player on the Milwaukee Bucks a ribbon, apparently.
Couldn't be more proud of the team and the competitiveness and the character and the toughness, and it's a great group. We've been through a lot together, a lot of basketball. We've had success, and now tonight, we hit a wall, or we met our end, and it hurts and it's hard. But my respect and love for the team isn't any different right now than it is at any other time.
Wow. Doesn't Budenholzer, I've said this before, he sounds like he's totally at the end of his rope. He's had a very hard life. He just wants to retire. And he's got that the voice of a guy who's just beaten down by life. Doesn't he sound like that? That's what he sounds like to me. Anyway, let's go to Giannis and play the ifs and buts and candy and nuts game, the Chris Middleton edition.
If you had Chris, it'd probably be a different story. But at the end of the day, like from game 1, from game 3 that we played Chicago, we kind of like went out there to compete.
So he planted the excuse with Chris Middleton. And here's Giannis, who after just planting the excuse is now claiming he's not making an excuse.
We wasn't trying to make excuses, we don't have Chris, and it's going to be tough for us. No. I think everybody went out there, compete, gave everything they had, and that's what we did from game 3 against Chicago until game 7 against Boston.
All right, now Giannis, one more from the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He says, despite the Milwaukee Bucks getting blown off the court in the second half by the Celtics, he's looking at things a little differently here for Milwaukee.
Hopefully, like this moment, instead of thinking that we lost something, we can gain and learn in order for us to put ourselves in a position to win another championship. Now, if it's going to be next year, if it's going to be in 2 years from now, who knows? But it's going to be somewhat like, hopefully, that's how we play. But I don't view it as we lost.
So he doesn't want to view that as a loss. So like in the next 100 years, if the Milwaukee Bucks win another NBA championship, they can look back to this day, even when every player on this team is dead. But 100 years from now, when they win another one, they can say, well, this is the turning point for the Milwaukee Bucks to win the championship. Got it? Okay, got it. Wonderful.